Hi everyone, it's Angela Dahlgren and welcome to the very first episode of Magical Mommy Mondays. This is something that Jen from the Dillo's Diz and I have been working on for a little bit, and we are so excited to bring this to you. This is the pilot episode, so we were definitely finding our footing. So if you have anything to add, please leave them in the comments below. This is a passion project for us, so of course we do it because we love it, but we also do this for you. So if you have any constructive criticism, any notes that you have that you think would make the podcast better, like I said, leave them below or leave them on our social media handles, which I will leave right here. That's all I really have, so without further ado, here is the first episode of Magical Mommy Mondays. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. We really appreciate you listening. We'll be talking about everyday mom life with some pixie dust from Disney thrown in from time to time. This is a judgment-free zone. We know everyone parents differently, and we're just two moms doing our best as we figure out this whole parenting thing. So now, let's get this party started with today's episode. So welcome to Magical Mommy Mondays.
Oh my gosh, this is the pilot. This is the official episode.
I don't even know what's happening.
This is like Derek and Meredith waking up in her house, and then she kicks him out before her first day of work. This is the pilot.
This is big.
Ready for 16 seasons, and
I'm ready.
Continuing. Yeah,
we're gonna do that. We'll do 20.
We're gonna beat them.
Yeah.
So welcome to Magical Mommy Mondays. I am Angela Dahlgren. You might have heard me previously from touringplans.com. I was on their YouTube channel. I was their social media manager. And Jen,
yes,
where are you from?
I am Jen Cardillo. You may have recognized the Dillo, Snyder, and I am from Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. So you may have seen me over there and may still see me over there.
Yes, I am no longer with Touring Plans. I had a wonderful 5.5 years with them. I have my own YouTube channel. I actually just posted my very first video.
So exciting.
About 20 minutes ago. It was terrifying.
But you did. That's the first one. You got it out. It's out there now.
It's there. I can't take it back. And
now you're famous. So, I mean,
it's a work in progress. But yes, it is out there now. So yes, we are Angela. We are Jen, part of Magical Mommy Mondays, a new podcast where we talk about everything to do with parenting and the ups and the downs and the reality of it. And we're going to throw in a sprinkle of Disney as well, because
obviously
it would not be us if we didn't do that, right?
No. And should we explain how we got here? Because this only happened the last few weeks, and from us meeting in person. Because because this wasn't even a thought like a month ago.
Well, okay. So why don't we tell you how this episode's going to work today?
Yeah.
So we are going to give you a background of us and how we met, how we started talking, that whole shebang.
Yes.
And how this podcast came to fruition. And then we're going to do a nice short and sweet topic to give you a preview of what to expect on Magical Mommy Mondays. I really love how that flows off the tongue.
I know.
Yes.
We only came up with that name like a little bit ago. Well, we had a portion of it, but I like the new one. It's very fancy.
It's just so fitting. Okay, so Jen, how did we first start talking to each other?
So when you were with Touring Plans, you had reached out to me, not Frank, because you loved me so much from the Thursday.
Not Frank.
Not Frank. And I was like, days are kind of tough for me to come on to the Touring Plans podcast, which you had invited me to. And I was like, what? This is crazy. But I was like, maybe you want to talk to Frank because his schedule is a little better during the day. So you talked to Frank first, and then you were like, you know what? We still need you, because that was great and all. But, I think we still need the better Dillo.
There was a missing piece.
Yeah. So I was on Touring Plans, and it was so exciting, and I was extremely nervous, and I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Angela. It's crazy. And then we had you on Theme Park Thursday, and we all realized that we're long-lost siblings is what it comes down to.
Yes.
None of us like change.
Nope.
We have kids the same age. there was just so much there that we're like, we have to be related.
Yeah, so we had Frank on the Touring Plans podcast, then you, and then something just clicked. Like it was like our thing for Hollywood studios and our thing for nostalgia. There was just like so many missing pieces just coming together into this whole, and it was just truly magical. It was great.
Oh, and I think you hopped in a car with Frank before you came on Theme Park Thursday.
Yes.
I think that may have happened.
Yes. So on the opening day of Galaxy's Edge, so before leading up to that, everyone was freaking out because they didn't know how opening day was going to go. They didn't know what the procedure was going to be like. And I knew Frank was going. And I'm like, Frank, how are you getting there opening day? He's like, well, me and like 3 other guys were going to drive there. Do you want to get in a car with a bunch of strangers and go? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm traveling alone. It should be perfectly fine. And in my mind, I'd been talking to you two for so long.
Yeah.
You know, we were Diz Twitter friends.
Yes.
Totally, it was a good idea.
Obviously.
And it was awesome. At like 3 a.m, I was DMing Frank. I'm like, are you guys up yet? Where are you? I'm in the lobby. Why aren't you here yet? And they were going to get the car. I was such a sister. Just nagging him.
You got to start out, right away. Just right from the gate, you got to do it.
He had to know like what my role was in the family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love it. So you got in the car with Frank and it just took off from there. Literally. So then last month at the end of January, our friend Jocelyn in the Diz Twitter community, also known as Disney Gratitude 1, replaced the E with a 1. She created this Diz Twitter meetup for anyone that would be in Orlando at that time, or if you wanted to fly in especially for this. We had known about it for like a year, and we were like, I don't know, maybe. And 2 weeks before made our plans to be there. You had a whole family trip for like a week, and this kind of fell right in the middle of that. So it was just destiny.
It was.
And it all came together perfectly.
But I didn't even know if you were going. I was just going to go, and I was going to meet a bunch of new Disney Twitter friends, and I was really excited. And then like 2 weeks before, you're like, it's on.
This is happening.
This is happening. And I was so excited to finally meet you guys. Oh my gosh. It was a really big deal. I was like, bye fam.
Yeah.
I'm back, but I'm back.
Meanwhile, my back was to the entrance of Magic Kingdom, and Frank was like, oh, Angela. And I turned, I'm like, okay, let me wait with open arms. Here she comes. I'm so excited.
It was no Sam from Monday Morning Monorail podcast greeting.
There was a slow run there.
Yeah,
that was pretty epic.
I mean, that was documented.
Yes.
It was like, you should repost that on Twitter when we post this episode.
For sure.
That was a beautiful greeting.
It was amazing. I knew we would have a really big greeting. I did not expect the run and jump into my arms that she gave me, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, so we will attach in the show notes. We will attach that link somewhere.
Yes.
So you can see what we're referring to.
Yes,
it was
for sure.
A very sweet moment. But anyway, from the time that we met, I mean, I had already seen Frank in person. So I love Frank, but I had not met my sister yet.
Right.
My long-lost sister.
Yes.
So from the time that I met you, you and me and Sam were just like a bunch of chatterboxes.
Yes. Yes. And we were like, and then at times I'm like, oh, am I being too clingy? And then at times I felt like I was hogging you.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I feel like I'm hogging you. Let me give you space. And then we were online for something and you're like, Jen, you can be in on this conversation too. I was like, it's cool. It's okay. I'm good. Like, I don't want to intrude, let everyone talk. And
that was so funny. I was thinking the same thing. At one point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to walk ahead. I'm just going to walk ahead and I'm just going to like, let them talk. Like, I don't want them to think that I'm like third wheeling because I'm by myself.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, and then, and I think originally we were online for the Haunted Mansion. And I think originally me, you, and Sam were going to go in the same car to continue our conversation.
Yep.
And then it kind of split off where Sam and Mackenzie, who is Jocelyn's adorable daughter.
Oh my gosh, she's so
did you hear that?
sweet.
That was the New York accent that almost came out. Because sometimes when you have certain words put together, like adorable daughter, and I say it too fast, I want to say daughter. Yeah, and it's bad. I catch myself there.
I do have a question as an aside.
Sure.
I might have seen a Christmas video of you as a child.
Yeah.
And this accent was a lot thicker. And I'm kind of wondering how you lost it.
I lost it. For those of you don't know, I was an operating participant in Disney for 2 years. So I worked in Epcot and Innoventions for IBM. And I started there with my accent because everyone made fun of me for it. And I did live demonstrations and I spieled a video game and I talked about the IBM computers and all that. But from that, I lost my accent. I have now been back, it'll be 14 years in the fall, and I've maintained, for the most part, it being gone. It'll come out sometimes, like the double words together. Sometimes my family will kind of get me, especially if I'm like trying to play along with them, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm actually slipping into it. But for the most part, I think I've kept it at bay.
So
but it was strong.
Do you remember any of that speech that you would give that you could maybe do in a New York accent?
The IBM spiels?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a thingamajig game, and it was like a joystick game, and you waited online, and you all had these big screens, and you kind of stared into this projector thing. And you would say, this is a video game. You're going to compete to collect treasure, and you're going to fly through the air and zoom through the water. And I would say water like that every time. And people would just like the people that worked with me would just stand around and wait for that line of like zoom through the water every time. Yeah. And I think then there was a VIA voice, which is like voice recognition technology. I mean, we've come a long way. And it would often screw up things that I was saying. I'm trying to remember that one though. Like thingless. No, I don't know if I could remember that one. I probably have the script somewhere because I'm a hoarder, and it's probably in my attic in some sort of bin.
Oh,
I'll see if I have to look that. Yeah.
You know, both of my parents are from Illinois, so even though I was born in Minnesota, they were not.
Yeah.
So my accent is really not that thick for being a Minnesotan.
Right.
But since I moved a little farther north and I married my husband, who was born and raised here, I do find it getting a little thicker. So when I'm really excited and I'm talking really fast, like the O's get so thick.
Yes.
And I can imitate a Minnesota mom. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes, I think we had you do that for us. I think you should do that again on this one. I mean, this is a mommy podcast.
Well, it's true. We might as well get things off on the right foot. So let's see, Minnesota mom. Oh, hey, hon. How's it going? How's mom? Good, good. Yeah, would you like a hot dish? Oh, okay. Sit down.
So good. Bravo. Do you encounter that like when you're dropping your kids off at school or at events or extracurricular activities? Do you feel like, because to me that kind of sounds like maybe that is an older mom, like our moms would probably sound like that, but do you find that for this generation as well?
You know, this generation seems to be a little more reserved, I'd say. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that as much. And I would be at my friends' houses, so like they'd be a little more, I guess, welcoming and open.
Right.
So I guess I could say older generation just because it was my friends' moms.
Yeah.
But like, when I'm doing like preschool drop off, it's not like they're saying. Yeah. But yeah, you do get some of that if I hear them talking to each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Moms.
That's amazing.
But
I love it. So, so we're online for Haunted Mansion and we split off. So Mackenzie and Sam go in a little, I don't know, what are they called? Little buggies?
A dune buggy.
A dune buggy, right? So they're over there and we are in ours, and we just talked nonstop the entire time.
Did not even go on the ride, really?
No, I have no idea what happened.
Sat on the ride.
Chatty. Yes. But we were just chatting it up the whole entire time, to the point where we have a photo. And really, the photo, I think, is what kicked this all off, because the photo is just us seriously looking at each other. We are in deep conversation, and we walk off the ride. Like, I thought we made faces. Maybe we were too late. Oh, well.
Oh, no, I tried, but I made a face at the wrong part. I didn't know when you were supposed to do it. So instead, I look like I'm like telling you something like super intense, and you look like you've been talking for 15 minutes.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, well, this has to continue. And I think as soon as we walked off of there, I was like, we should do a podcast. And we kind of just joked about it. And now here we are.
And then after that, I had to go.
Oh, that was so sad.
And I looked at you and I'm like, I'm not ready to stop bonding.
No, I was like, but we just started. I think that was the initial name of the podcast. We just started bonding or something like that. Bonding. Yeah, I'm not ready. No, it was hard. That was like the first sad moment of the day, was saying goodbye. Oh,
I know.
It's tough. I mean, you went back to your cute kids, but,
they're pretty cute.
Yeah.
But now you guys know how we met for the first time, what that story was. That's the background. That's, I guess, part of the intro. I guess what we want to say is, this will be a podcast, like we said, about mom-related topics. You know, we want to talk to you guys about how we feel when our kids are sick and how frustrating it can be when they're not getting better. And, you're exhausted and you're like, oh, the house is a mess. And there's a lot going on. And there's a lot more than just, the day-to-day stuff. But we also want to talk to you about, how to minimize packing for a family of 4 to Disney World. And like today, we're going to talk to you about our favorite resorts for kids.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing to call it?
I think so. That works.
Yeah. Our favorite Disney resorts for kids.
Yeah. A good family resort.
I had to fight my way through that segue. I was just like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Okay, there we go.
That's perfect. You did it. Okay. You're a professional. Who am I? Me and my brother do a podcast. You are a professional, for goodness sake.
That is a good podcast if you guys have not listened. Oh my gosh. Every time I listen to your podcast, I just want to go to Hollywood Studios with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it would be the best time ever.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
But I want to go to 1990s Hollywood Studios.
So do we. Because it was #AlwaysMGM. It wasn't Hollywood Studios.
Right. Exactly. So I want to go to MGM.
I know. Me too.
We're starting this pilot off with a lot of tangents.
You know what? That's kind of what we do on Theme Park Thursday. So why not continue it over here?
It is a spinoff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's perfect.
Right. Okay. So do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start. Go for it.
So I'll go with the last resort I just stayed at, which is Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Yes. There's a lot of reasons why I like this. Number one, it's a value resort, which means, so Disney has 3 tiers of resorts. Value is the least expensive, moderate, and deluxe being the most expensive. This is a value resort, so you're not going to pay as much. Now, I have stayed at the All-Star resorts. They have sports, movies, and music. I am not a fan of them just because I feel like the rooms are, the walls are really thin. You can hear the doors slam. You can hear the drawers shut. You can hear the toilets flush. So it's not good for a good night's sleep unless you have like a box fan or earplugs or something. Also, the Wi-Fi is not great. But I prefer Art of Animation and Pop Century, which is its sister resort, for many reasons. It does not feel like a value resort when you compare it to the All-Stars. It has a really great food court. It's huge. So many options. It has the Disney Skyliner. Have you been on it, Jen?
I have.
He is giving me a look right now. If you are listening.
I have. It's fine.
But
I am trying to wait out them working through their kinks. So I went on it. It's fine. Do I want to get stuck on it like your brother and sister-in-law just did for an hour? I don't know. Yeah. Do I want to do that in the middle of August? No. Do I want to do that with my 2 kids? No. So we can work out the kinks where if there's some pauses along the way, okay. But this whole stopping for an hour or getting evacuated or whatever it is, I need all that ironed out a little bit.
I agree. Like, I will say that this is only the second time I've heard of it having this long of a stop. But the first time I rode it, I was very anxious the whole time.
Yeah.
Because when you're not used to the bumps and kind of the noises, it's very freaky for someone like me who isn't a fan of enclosed spaces and heights to a certain degree, all the rides and stuff. But it did stop at one point when I was riding and said it was going to be delayed. And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This was, and it's almost always the Riviera route, the one to Epcot.
Yep.
And it only ended up being less than a minute in my case. So really no reason for me to panic. It's like by the time I panicked, it was already moving again. It was probably 30 seconds. But it could have not been, and the thing is, it just doesn't feel very stable right now. And I really, like you said, worry about summer. It's something I might avoid. But if you're staying at Art of Animation or Pop, they reduced their buses for Epcot and Hollywood Studios. If you weren't aware of that. So it kind of gives you not a lot of options there.
Yeah. Did the kids go on it when you were there last?
They loved the Skyliner. Loved it. And I do too. When it's working, I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. It's efficient. From my door, I stayed in a car suite. From my door, it took me 14 minutes to get to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
It's so fast. And and if you guys don't know how it goes, it takes you, or how it works, it takes you from the Pop and Art of Animation station to like a transportation and ticket center kind of thing.
Yep.
Where you can either go to Hollywood Studios or go to Epcot.
Yes.
If you decide to go to Hollywood Studios, you go all the way there. If you go to Epcot, then you stop at Riviera. And that is the longer route, the one to Riviera and Epcot. And that ticket, or that transportation ticket center area, that's where Caribbean Beach is. But I loved it. I loved the Skyliner, but it's just like, it scares me.
That's the thing. And I don't know if I'm, especially that those kind of kinks haven't been worked out yet. And then you add like summer sun and heat to it. And I don't know. I know there's vents. I know. But that August heat in Orlando is rough. So I don't know.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But it is an excellent mode of transportation.
Yeah.
I prefer it to any other kind on Disney property. But that is frightening.
Yeah.
Yes,
we're just thinking about the Skyliner now.
I know. No, other things that I like about Art of Animation for kids is the theme is on point.
Yeah.
If your kid is into Disney films right now, you can stay in a section of the resort that is kind of catered to what they're liking right now. There's a Cars theme, a Finding Nemo, a Lion King, a Little Mermaid theme. They also have family suites where it can sleep families of 6. There is a pull-down bed. It's originally a table, but you can pull it down into a bed. There's a pull-out couch, and then there's a regular bedroom. And these family suites also have 2 bathrooms.
Yeah, that's
one
awesome.
just has a shower, and one just has a tub and a shower. And then they have a kitchenette as well. We stayed in a car suite, and it was so much room.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend those. Have you stayed in one before, Jen?
No, I have stayed in the Little Mermaid regular room, and that was before kids. And thought like, oh, well, I'll definitely come back here when we have kids someday because they would go crazy over something like this. But I haven't stayed in one of those suites, but I have looked at them before, and I think it's so nice to have that option when you have like the vacation club villas that are a lot pricier and kind of sleep the same amount of people. You can do it here for more affordable, and the kids will like the room more with the theming.
Well, and in a lot of cases, I would say that the family suites sleep more than the 1-bedroom villas. Because a lot of times those only sleep like 5.
Right. Yep.
And these sleep 6.
Very true.
But yeah, the Little Mermaid rooms I'm sleeping at in a few months. I'm not ready to say yet. Keep them on their toes.
There may be an upcoming trip, and you may be bunking with Ariel.
Maybe. Yeah, but another just like kind of little details before I let you take the next one is I really love when you're walking around the food court and the lobby, you're hearing different songs from those 4 films that I mentioned, but you're hearing them, you're hearing different covers of them, like you're hearing Ashley Tisdale sing Kiss the Girl.
Yeah.
Or like the Disney Channel stars sing Circle of Life. It brings that nostalgia to you as well.
Yeah.
And there's an Ariel bathroom in the lobby, which has like a bunch of little pink tile and an Ariel mural, and it's so awesome.
I don't think I saw that. That's cute.
Yes, and the pools are fantastic. They have a Nemo pool and a Cars pool. And is that it, or is there another one? Am I missing another one? Well, I'm sure someone will let me know if I missed one.
Someone will at you.
Yeah, exactly. Let me know what I missed. But I just think that, being within distance to 2 parks, and especially adding that Skyliner, has just made it so much more popular to me. And a good alternative if you can't get in there is Pop Century, I think.
Yes. And that was going to be my value resort pick. Look at that segue. Look at this. Just vibing.
I know. Look at us.
And I kind of feel the same way you do about the all-star resorts. I've stayed in them. They're fine, but they've been refurbished, and I've been in there since they've been redone, and they're really nice. But I do feel like you still feel like these are older. They're a little older. They weren't built as well necessarily. And yes, definitely. And the kids do love it. Like, to them, they don't really realize anything else because they're seeing these, with all the sports, they're seeing all the football fields and everything like that. But I prefer Pop, and I do like that you can walk over that bridge to Art of Animation as well, so you can kind of utilize both pool areas, and it kind of gives the kids a change of scenery for the pool, so it makes it a little more exciting. And I feel like, does Art of Animation have kind of more of the sprinkler area too? Is that over there, or is that maybe that's in Pop and I'm not even realizing?
Oh gosh, I never did it. I never saw it in my week there anyway.
I feel like one of them does, but and now with the Skyliner, it does offer another option. The bus service is reduced, which I wonder how that will go when the crowds increase, like during holidays or the summer. Will they put more buses back in service? But I guess they're probably going to play out how the Skyliner is going at that point and probably go from there. But I liked it when it was originally built because it did feel like almost an upgrade from the All-Star, but still with the value prices. So yeah, I do. I like that a little better than the All-Star, but I do like Art of Animation, but I like that they can kind of share the property. So it's kind of good to bounce around that way. So.
Oh yeah. And the theme is, or the food court is just as good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it has a beautiful view.
Yes.
The room I stayed in has a beautiful view of that lake. I don't know what lake it is, but walking across the bridge between the two is gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not my favorite theme, honestly. Like, I wouldn't choose to stay there over the theme.
Right. No.
But,
No.
But some people love that.
Yeah. I usually stay there because the pricing is better. And that's kind of where I go with the value resorts is like, well, let's see, are they significantly different? Because especially with Art of Animation, sometimes there's only suites available and you can't get a regular room. So, okay, then I'll go to Pop, and then at least I can kind of go back and forth. And it also makes it feel bigger when you're walking over the bridge. You feel more space that way. But theming wise, no, I think Art of Animation is definitely better for that.
Well, and what we do sometimes, talking about reduced busing, where am I going with this? If you're waiting for your bus, Art of Animation isn't there and that's where you're staying, but the Pop bus is, get on the Pop bus. Yeah. It's a very short walk to Art of Animation. Or vice versa. Staying at Pop, the Art of Animation bus is there. Go on that bus. Yeah. And that's just, flip-flop between the two. We did that on our last trip, and it was like a 5-minute walk to our, I think, room. It was super fast. Also, allegedly, the buses are now run off of the used cooking oil that the restaurants use at Disney.
What?
Yeah. Like the used oil or grease or something like that.
That's really interesting. We'll have to look into that conspiracy theory. You're starting rumors.
I said allegedly, okay? I'm not just spouting things. I know. We need to Google this.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do that. Yeah. Maybe we'll do research in a future episode. We'll see.
Disney conspiracy theory.
Exactly. Oh, we can have a whole episode
coming up next. All right. What's another one? Let's see. I have Beach Club. Mm-hmm. Honestly, Boardwalk is my favorite, but that clown pool is so creepy.
It's terrifying.
It is. You're literally going down a water slide out of the mouth of a clown.
Yeah.
And it's just not okay.
No. I don't know. I know you dabbled in the TikTok for a couple of days.
I looked at TikTok, downloaded it, posted a completely random video, with no editing at all. It was me meeting the Grinch. Left it up for about 2 days, freaked out, and then deleted my account.
I love it. That's perfect.
No. But Jen's superpower?
No.
Jen's superpower is she is a master TikToker.
No, hardly. I have no idea what I'm doing. But when Frank and I were there last month, we had walked around the boardwalk a bit, and we were taking pictures, having some B-roll for content and such, And we were around the pool, and Frank said, you should take video of the clown and then put a soundbite of the movie It behind it. And I was like, okay, yeah, we could try that, whatever. Because we just, whatever with the TikTok. And that all of a sudden started going up. It has 130,000 views. It's so ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't understand TikTok, but the pool is terrifying. And some people have commented they were waiting for something to come out of the mouth of the clown. Obviously, nothing did at that point. But it goes to show that soundbite and the pool kind of match a little too well.
Next time, we are putting a huge water balloon down the water slide.
Oh, I like that.
A red water balloon and doing the exact same thing.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. That'll be your first TikTok when you get back on.
And then I will never post another one because I am afraid of TikTok. And it's just I can't learn another social media thing. I just can't do it.
It's all Dave's fault. Dave of Brandy and Dave. It's all his fault.
It is his fault.
It is.
He's like, you got to do it. Gary Vee says so. And Gary Vee is a master.
Mm-hmm.
He is. And I follow him. And Dave knows. And Dave is the cool hip dad on top of these things. And he got to you.
Yep, he sure did.
And you are quickly, if not surpassing Dave. You are a master on TikTok.
He mentioned TikTok when we had them on in December. And I was like, let me ask you about this because I have been on the DL on TikTok, not my name, I'm user, whatever. I'm just scrolling through going, oh my God, what is this? I don't understand. But I'm scrolling through it as I'm falling asleep at night. I'm doing this too much. And he's like, no, you got to get on it. I'm like, yeah, I've been thinking about it for Dillos, but I don't know. The next day I was like, let's do this. Let's just jump in. And I did. And I've never looked back. Now I'm like,
you and Dave are my heroes. I don't know how you guys can learn another thing.
He's like, oh, and now there's this other thing. I'm like, don't do it. No, there is no other thing. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm doing it. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not. And Frank's friend just today, she had just gotten on it. She's like, oh, do you have any tips? I'm like, I have no tips. I don't know what I'm doing. I just post stuff and it's basically throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. I don't get it.
I think I'm kind of creative, but the level of creativity on TikTok, I do not understand how you guys can think of things.
Yeah.
I can't. No.
We might have to get on it though. There's a lot of moms on TikTok.
Then you're going to have to tell me what to do because I'm not doing it. You just boss me around. Okay. But I did have Beach Club.
Right. The Beach Club. Right. Yes.
Okay. Listen, if you guys actually make it through this pilot, please give us some direction. maybe the next episode.
We'll try to rate it in next time with a better, some notes maybe. We'll see. I'm not used to notes on the podcast. I got to take some.
I even made an outline.
You did.
You did.
You're doing so much better.
I'm trying. Stormalong Bay is probably the best pool at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
It has a sand bottom. So as you walk through the pool, it has sand. It has a pirate ship water slide, which is just like so BA in my opinion.
Yes.
It is walking distance to 2 Disney parks, also Epcot, Hollywood Studios, like Art of Animation and Pop Century. But you can also take a boat there, which is really nice. You kind of have 2 modes of transportation, walking or boat.
Yep.
You have the boardwalk. You have the boardwalk itself, where you can play games. There's entertainers. There's shops and restaurants. You can rent Surrey bikes, and then I believe the resort also has things like volleyball and tennis.
Yeah. They do. I love it. I love it there.
I do too.
The Dillo nostalgia goes back that far. That we, in the first part of our childhood, stayed at the Polynesian. And then once Beach Club was built, kind of moved over there. And then we kind of bounced back and forth between Boardwalk and Beach Club. So they're both pretty close to our hearts that way. I feel like Beach Club, though, we spent most of the time at. We love that quiet pool. It's like our favorite. We love Stormalong Bay and the sand bottom and the awesome slide. That quiet pool, I think, is where you would find the Cardillos for a lot of afternoons in August in the 90s. That's where we were. We were just hanging out in that quiet pool.
I mean, you guys have great taste to go between the Poly and Beach Club.
And the Poly is what I would probably say is like my deluxe. I mean, you went Beach Club, I'll go Poly, because it's on the monorail line. Yeah. And staying on the monorail line, there could be a debate as to the pricing of those resorts being so expensive and is it really worth it? But the nostalgia pulls me back to that Polynesian, and it's just so good there and just makes you feel like you're on vacation. When you're in that pool, you have a view of the castle, like from the pool.
Oh,
it's so good.
Such an awesome pool. It's if you guys have been to Alani, it's super reminiscent of Alani and that pool area. It's just such a cool pool area. And then the lawn, I'm sorry, this is your bit.
No, you're fine.
The lawn for the lawn activities.
Yes.
So cool. I keep going now. I want to listen.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I just stole it.
They have the swings on the beach, and you can watch the fireworks from there. They pipe the music through, so you don't even have to go into the crowd if you don't want to. They have Dole Whip at the resort now. They have Trader Sam's if you can find some babysitters for the kids, or if you're going sans kids, Trader Sam's, one of the coolest places in Disney to hang out. So, you really can't go wrong with the Polynesian.
Nope.
Someone tell me something bad about the Polynesian. You can't.
Well, no, I mean, really the only negative is that, because it's on the monorail line, it can get congested in the lobby because people like to get off there and kind of walk around. But there's Lilo and Stitch that like to hang around in the lobby sometimes.
Yep.
So you can meet them. And then they have the character breakfast.
Yep, at Ohana.
At Ohana with Lilo and Stitch. Both of them, right?
But Lilo and Stitch, Mickey and Goofy, Mickey and Minnie. I'm blanking. I feel like there's 4, but.
And then Beach Club also has Cape May Cafe, where that's a character meal as well.
Yes.
So both of them have character meals, which is really nice.
Awesome. Yeah, and they have the milkshakes at the Beach Club for Beaches and Cream.
Oh, you're right. Ooh, and then the Mickey kitchen sink.
Yes.
I still have my kitchen sink that I brought home. But yes, Poly is such a good choice. I really love the Polynesian. I was lucky enough to stay there one night through touring plans, and the rooms are the biggest rooms too, I think, of all the deluxe, and they are huge.
Yes.
I spent one night with my parents in January at the Floridian because we were going to Universal the next day. And those rooms feel tiny compared to the Poly rooms.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy. I don't think I had stayed in the Polynesian from like when I was a kid until me and who is referred to on my podcast as Mr. Snydillo, when we went on our 1-year anniversary trip, we stayed at the Polynesian and then went on a Disney cruise. Like, good God, can I take that vacation again?
Oh my gosh.
But going into that room from not being there for so many years, I was like, oh my God, these rooms are massive. This is crazy. And it's like, oh, I guess they realized they had to condense the space and build more rooms in the hotels after that. But it's so good. And just being able to like wake up, have some character breakfast at Ohana, hop on the monorail, go into Magic Kingdom. I want to go.
Kona Cafe.
Yes.
And they're Moco Locos. Loco Mocos. Oh, yeah. I just want one right now.
That's where we ate before meeting you last month. We ate at Kona for breakfast.
You guys were up so early to do that.
Not too well, kind of a little.
Because you did the bar hopping.
Oh, we did.
The night before.
We did the monorail bar crawl. We're crazy. Never crazy.
But when you get time away from the kids.
Yes.
And a no kids trip.
Yeah.
You make it count.
You gotta do stuff. We were up for Rise of the Resistance. I'm not getting those kids up at 5 a.m.
No. And maybe that's something that we'll talk about in a future episode. Mm-hmm. Whether maybe we think that's a good idea with kids.
Yeah.
Or worth doing at all for the time being. I don't know. That could be a little dramatic.
Right.
But is there a moderate we want to throw in, or do we just want to talk about our favorite moderate?
You could talk to me about your favorite. Let's do that.
Well, my favorite is French Quarter. I think I'd probably recommend Riverside for kids just because they have like the princess rooms.
Right.
And probably more activities since it's a bigger resort. This is Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter. They have a bigger food court. Not probably, they do. Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter is Riverside's sister resort. And it's much smaller. I'm holding my chapstick while I talk.
That's okay.
French Quarter is Riverside's sister resort. It's much smaller, but that's why it's my favorite. And it has just like a nice little jazzy stroll, little jazzy stroll feel to it. You can get beignets there. That's why I love French Quarter. But like I said, Riverside has a bigger food court. They have sit-down dining options, more pools, and the princess rooms, which are amazing. And I really want to stay in one someday.
I have seen the pictures. I have not stayed. I want to do that as well, though. I like those. I haven't stayed at a moderate in a while. I feel like I've gone more value, and if I'm not going to do value, then I'm going to do deluxe. But I haven't really gone in the middle there. And I used to stay at Coronado a lot. Coronado has gone through some changes now that they have the new tower. Yeah. And Caribbean Beach I did once, which is a good spot for you now with the Skyliner because you can go to Studios, Epcot, other resorts. So you got some options there, which is nice. And it does make you feel like you're kind of on a Caribbean vacation. They have the beach set up. It's very bright and colorful. So maybe I would suggest the Caribbean for that aspect. But I don't know. For me, I kind of feel like the resorts are bigger. The moderate resorts do feel a little bigger, but what you're getting in the rooms, I kind of feel like are not that far off from the value. So I always kind of feel like, I don't know if I'm gonna spend extra money, then I'll jump up to deluxe, but I'd probably go value than over a moderate. I don't know.
You're getting slightly more square footage.
Yeah.
And then you're getting more amenities at the actual resort, like a restaurant,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe an alternate form of transportation, although with the Skyliner, that's now changed.
Right.
So that's really the bigger difference is the square footage and then the alternate and the amenities. But that's really the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think that's our show.
Yeah, but just like that.
Just like that.
Boom. But you go to Disney with your family if you can do it and stay wherever because you're not going to have a bad time.
No, you're not. No. If you do some planning ahead of time.
Yes.
For Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And go in with the expectation that you're just not going to get to see and do everything.
Yes.
That one's important. That's really the only expectation I would say to have.
I will have a whole episode about resting in between.
Oh, yes. Other than that, Jen, where can we find you on social media?
Oh my goodness. Well, you can find me personally on Twitter under Jenillo, Jenillo. Also, Dillo's Diz, Dillo's with an S, Diz with a Z. I'm on Theme Park Thursday every Thursday on that podcast, where everywhere you listen to podcasts. We also have a YouTube, a TikTok, a Facebook, an Instagram. We're everywhere under Dillo's Diz. I'm not as everywhere as me, but it's mostly me behind Dillo's Diz. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. What about you? Where are you? Where can we see you?
Oh my gosh, thanks for asking.
No problem.
I am at Angela Dahlgren on Twitter. That is DAHLGREN, at Angela Dahlgren on Twitter, and at Angela_Dahlgren on Instagram. And then my new YouTube channel is just Angela Dahlgren on YouTube. You can tell that I'm very nervous because the minute I start talking about my new channel, I get excited.
What are we going to see on your new channel?
So for this first episode, I talked through me booking a flight and a room for an upcoming Disney trip. And, I kind of did like a screen grab and everything, but how I made it different is I was very honest about exactly what I spent. I showed you the exact prices that I paid, because sometimes I feel like, you see people going on all these Disney trips and you're like, oh my gosh, how do they afford it? What are their travel hacks? But no one really talks about it. Mm-hmm. So I thought if maybe I could be honest about that, it might help some people out with what to budget for their first trip. So that's what I did.
I love it. It'll help so many people.
I hope.
But we'll be back. When are we going to be back? Do we even know when we'll be back? We'll see how y'all feel about this, and maybe then we'll decide if we're really going to be back.
You could leave us some constructive criticism.
Yes.
There is always a kind way to say something.
Yes. And we really wanted to tie in Disney, since that's kind of what brought us together. And but we will also be straying from Disney some episodes and kind of really just talking about mom life as well.
Yes.
So kind of covering both sides. So if you think like, are you guys just doing another Disney podcast? No, we're not.
No, we're not. And let us know who you would like on the podcast. We have some guests that we're thinking of within the Disney community. But if you have anyone outside the Disney community that you would like us to consider, please let us know. And then you could just tell us on Twitter or Instagram or wherever we mention.
Yes. And I think we're going to have a Magical Mommy Mondays Twitter and Instagram to be putting out there too. So follow us there, and then you can tell us there. Look at that. It all comes together.
We'll put them in the show notes.
Until next time, I'm Jen. That's Angela.
Oh my gosh, we've done this before. All right, everyone. Have a great day, night, whatever you're doing. Talk to you soon.
Deuces. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. You can find us on Twitter at Magic Mom Monday and on Instagram at Magical Mommy Mondays. The music you heard on this podcast was written and produced by Matt Harvey. We'll see you next time.